Hello, and welcome to the Full Send Half Mast podcast, episode 28. I'm here with Tom, and I'm here with Dallas. Dallas is back. We haven't seen him in a long time on the channel. He is actually our first membership member of the Dega Boys channel. So, how are you guys doing today? You first, Dallas.
I'm really good. I hope my webcam focuses here. I can't get it to refocus, so hopefully it does it soon. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Dude, I am here for another star-studded, fantastic podcast that we're going to be putting on tonight. I'm excited. We got lots to talk about. Hey, this week was pumping with info.
Yeah, it sure was. I'm having a little bit of audio issues here to start. I'm going to fix that real quick, and then we should be all good and dandy. I believe we're good. Yeah, so like Tom said, we got lots of news to talk about here. A lot of racing this weekend. This weekend we had the SRX at Berlin, Indy NXT at Nashville Street, ARCA Xfinity Cup at Michigan, as well as the IMSA series over there at Road America, which is honestly one of my favorite tracks in all of the United States. And then also we have a bunch of news coming out from this week. Surprisingly, we have news with SVG. We have Lyle Gregson, if you guys are tuned into the channel, news. We also have the Hall of Fame class for this year being announced. And then we'll also preview this weekend's races, as well as our infamous Driver of the Week, Bonehead of the Week, Radioactive of the Week segments. We'll go through some of the point standings throughout some of these series as the season's drawing to an end in a lot of these. And then we have a lot of huge entries this weekend as well that we'll talk about. And then we'll give you our picks. We got lots of awesome races this weekend that we'll give you our picks for. But before we start here, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsor. W Energy Blends. Introducing NeuroFactor, an all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you with energy, laser focus, and fast reflexes. Provides concentration with important aminos and vitamins without the crash that ordinary canned energy drinks just cannot provide. Try amazing flavors such as Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, Beach and Peach. Buy the starter pack today, including 2 flavors in a shake cup for an extremely low price. Follow the link in the description below and use promo code DEGABOYS at checkout for 10% off your order. Thanks to Dubby for their continued sponsorship of the Dega Boys broadcasting. Alrighty, let's go right over the news real quick here. So, like I said with SVG, he's going to be running the Indy Road Course. We've heard that announcement last week in the podcast. He also announced that he's going to be running in the Truck Series race at IRP, or I guess Lucas Oil Raceway with Nice this weekend as well. So maybe tempting his waters here on ovals. Super exciting news there. Also, one big talking point here. Noah Gragson gets suspended by Legacy Motor Club and by NASCAR indefinitely, and he will not be coming back for the remainder of this season. What are your thoughts?
Did they announce something too quickly here? Did somebody say that they Noah got what is it, Legacy Motor Club, LMC? But LMC came out with a statement that said that they didn't can him. Like, yeah, it's turning into that Oscar Piastri deal in F1 the other year, when Oscar Piastri was like, "Oh, without my knowledge, Alpine wants me to drive, but screw him, I'm going to McLaren." Whatever, however that went. That's what it's sounding like, right?
I mean, I want to get Dallas's thoughts, and then I got my opinion. What do you think, Dallas?
I know Jordan Bianchi came out when they wrote an article. He's one of the writers for NASCAR for The Athletic, and I like The Athletic. I think that they're a pretty reputable news source, and Jordan Bianchi's pretty big in the garage. That I think he has a lot of trust with people, and he reported that Noah Gregson's out. Somebody was given anonymity to report, and they said that he's out. So I don't know if somebody's on the inside reporting stuff they're not supposed to report yet, and Legacy must have heard, and they're probably trying to jumble some legal jargon right now, and they probably don't want news that he's actually out. So it's probably a little back and forth that I would be willing to bet that Noah's out.
All right, my thought on this, I think we said this I said this specifically in a podcast or two back when we were talking about Chase Elliott's chance of making the playoffs, right? My prediction was he was going to be 17th in points at the end of the year. They were going to go and dig on somebody's social media feed that was in the top 16, find a way to kick them out of the playoffs to put Chase Elliott in. I didn't think this was going to happen to Lyle Gregson. I mean, say what you will about Lyle Gregson, and me and Tom have probably, and even Jared when he's been on here, we've probably been the worst proponents here for Lyle Gregson. But with that being said, we've been like the biggest supporters of Lyle Gregson, right? Noah Gregson, I should say, as being like the future superstar of NASCAR, being this character that NASCAR desperately needs. And with the whole rumors with John Hunter Nemechek potentially getting a cup ride, I feel like this was kind of a move on everybody's part to try and shuffle him out of there for Nemechek. I mean, am I stretching there by thinking that, or is this just ridiculous?
No, I actually find it pretty funny that last week Truex says that he is going to return next year, and then this week is the outing of Noah Gregson in that seat. Because John, where was the progression for John Hunter? Right, it was the 19 car until the 19 turned up this year, and then well now it's the 42.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know me and you've talked about this off stream, Tom. Does John Hunter Nemechek take this ride with Legacy Motor Club? Because we've been saying, like, he went from the Cup Series all the way back down to the Truck Series to do a natural progression through Joe Gibbs Racing. He's having an amazing year in Xfinity, did great in trucks. Why would he take a race team opportunity at Legacy Motor Club that's just going to be transitioning to Toyota? Why wouldn't he wait another year if that's what it takes to be able to finally get that Joe Gibbs ride that he's desperately seeking?
Yeah, I don't. Look, what's the benefit in running in Cup for a year with a really bad ride versus running in Xfinity for a year with a really good ride and a chance at winning the championship?
I think you're balancing race wins versus experience, right? That'd probably be the balancing factor here.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because the next gen car is totally a different car to drive for sure. I mean, he'd be getting good experience, but what is the experience that he's getting with a crap car?
Yeah, I mean,
is it really worth it?
Yeah, you make a great point. I'm with you. Personally, if I'm John Hunter Nemechek in this situation, unless they threw a godly amount of money at me, I'm staying in Xfinity another year, and I'm going to wait for 2025 to jump into that 19 car. And that's just me, because there's no. What's the difference? You're going to lose 1 year, 1 year in the Cup Series when you're going to retire at 40 anyway, a rich man, and have multiple Cup wins, maybe a championship. I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, Dallas? Like, stay in Xfinity, go to Cup in the 42?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it depends on what Toyota's actually bringing to the table. I don't think that they're going to be a crap team because Toyota only has 6 cars. They want to definitely even that out, so they have help on those, especially on tracks like super speedways. I'm willing to bet Toyota because how much money they've already put into the sport is willing to give as much support as they have to 2311 to Legacy. So I don't think it's going to be a crap car. Certainly not what Legacy is right now. I think that they can only get better with Toyota. And John Hunter, I think, is definitely a Cup-ready driver, and he might be more well-rounded than Noah Gregson, especially since he already has Cup experience with that competition. He only has that one Cup drive last year with the car, but I think that he would be decent in it. I think that for John Hunter, as long as he has the sponsor support, going to Cup should be a no-brainer for him.
I think you nailed the nail right on the head there with how much support Toyota is going to give him, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to bring up. I guess I'm being a pessimist when I'm talking about LMC and their progression through the series. Because, again, Jay and I, we've talked about this multiple times. Whenever that petty group goes from 1 car to 2 cars, it's like the program absolutely flops every time. That team just cannot get 2 good cars. I mean, the last time they had 2 decent cars was 2010. I'm talking about decent on the bare minimum. Like, decent. That's, like, bare minimum decent. Right? That's when they had Ambrose and,
No, they had Kane and Allmendinger. 2010.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. That would probably be the last time that they were ever irrelevant.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, really. But, I mean, like, you saw it with Brian Scott, right? Who was the other driver that was after Brian Scott that made that 2-car team?
They had Almirola.
If it matters.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they've had a revolving door for years.
I'm trying to think of who's been in that car.
Right. Exactly my point. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just being. I don't know. I like to be optimistic, but I guess I got to see it to believe it with this team, because every time you want these people to do good, but it's just you put them to a single car team, they're a pretty decent midfield contender, top 10 contender, you know, and then 2 cars, you might as well kiss the program goodbye for the year.
I mean, if you're Richard Petty's team, I mean, he's driven, I think, every other manufacturer in the sports history other than Toyota. You might as well throw a Toyota in the mix and see what they do. I think it's worthy to note that Eric Jones definitely did not decrease as a driver. He's not a worse driver. No. If anything, he's a better driver this year than last year, and we saw what he could do last year.
Yeah.
They're getting no support from Chevy, and you need to have that support from the manufacturer. Because, I mean, you have every other Chevy team has more support than they do, and it clearly shows out on the racetrack. I mean, Eric Jones had a decent run this last week for strategy and stuff like that, but I mean, he's still not anywhere near as he was last year. I think if Toyota's willing to give them the support, they could show out next year with 2 cars, with 2 very capable drivers. I don't know if they've had 2 very solid drivers. Obviously John Hunter would be a rookie and he'd be young, but he's very well developed as a racer. He's been through every series now multiple times again. So I think that next year they would be better. Maybe not quite the contenders that we want them to be, especially like last year, but I think they will be better next year if John Hunter goes to them.
Alrighty. Well, that I just want to answer Andy's question real here in the chat. He said, how do you think SVG will do this weekend? Well, Andy, we will be talking about that towards the end of this podcast, so make sure you stay tuned to the end. We've got lots more stuff to come. I guess the segues me to the next news here is the Hall of Fame class. We got Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, and Donnie Allison, as well as Janet Guthrie. The one that stands out to me the most here is Janet Guthrie. I think I texted you, Tom. She was the best race car driver, or female race car driver, probably ever, and probably will ever be. So for her to get the honor of being a Hall of Famer in NASCAR is huge, right? I mean, we don't see this in other sports. This is an awesome moment for if any female racing driver coming up through the ranks at all. They need to be looking into her career and how well she was as a race car driver with the lack of equipment, lack of cultural support at the time, and the diversity or diverse driving ability she had in multiple racing series. So I think that's pretty cool. Did you guys have any comments on that? Hall of Fame class?
I find it really surprising that news right there flew under national radar or national news. I really do. I that's a shame.
I think it goes to show just how her career really was, though. I mean, she never got the spotlight or the attention that she ever deserved.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And then the last little bit of news here, we have Jonathan Davenport getting announced to run the SRX at Lucas Oil, the season finale there in SRX. Super exciting news. I love the SRX. It's crazy that they're almost done with the season. But at least we get to see Jonathan Davenport make an attempt. And I guess next we'll just preview recap all the races this weekend. Like I mentioned, SRX at Berlin, Indy NXT Nashville, all the NASCAR series besides the trucks there at Michigan, as well as IMSA at Road America. Really, there's not a lot to talk about with the SRX race. With just a pretty clean, kosher race, right? We saw Keselowski and Newman win both the heat races. Newman was on pole. Keselowski didn't take long to get to the lead, and he led it for a while. Castroneves threw his name in the hat there at the end, trying to win the race. I was really pulling for Castroneves. I want to see him win. Fortunately, can't beat Kyle Busch, right? Kyle Busch takes the lead there late, ends up running away with the win. This guy is unstoppable, man. Seems like anything he jumps in, he could put it in the front and dominate. I mean, that's what we saw, right?
Yeah.
That
was like classic Kyle Busch.
Oh yeah,
like race right there.
Yeah, it was insane.
His back and forth with Logano on the radio was hilarious. He's so much fun to watch in the SRX. It's the skill that guy has is insane. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. And real quick, before we move on to the next race, I want to go over the point standings in SRX. Since, like I mentioned, there's only 2 races left. Ryan Newman's still your points leader here at 146. He's 33 points ahead of Keselowski and 34 points ahead of Andretti. So, I don't know. Maybe safe to say Newman's got this locked up. We'll have to wait and see this, or in a couple days from now, actually, see what he can do at the next one. We'll talk about the ARCA race next. I know last week I'm pretty high on Andres Perez. I know me and Tom talked about it. I know me and Dallas even talked about it before stream. Very competitive. He qualified on pole here. Him and Gus Dean battled it out early on in this race. Dean was able to take advantage of it. Jesse Love was in the mix there. Really the big controversy here was for Frankie Muniz, right? He ends up having a tire go down after contact there with Gus Dean, I believe it was. It looked like his race was killed. Andres Perez took the lead here later in the race. He led pretty much to the end till he had Connor Mosak took the lead there, 12 to go. Andres Perez ended up bringing out the caution there with 7 to go because he blew an engine. And then we had a couple of those late race ARCA shenanigan restarts, and Jesse Love was able to take advantage of all the rest of the ARCA guys basically doing ARCA things, and goes on to win his 6th race of the season. I mean, 6th race of the season. Let that sink in. Jesse Love is unstoppable. I mean, this guy, if he's not truck racing next year, I don't know where everybody went wrong. I mean, this guy is unstoppable.
That'd be a shame.
Unstoppable. So we'll have to see what he can do here this weekend as well, as they're running ARCA this Saturday or this Friday.
I believe Frankie Muniz is first top 5 too in the ARCA.
Yeah,
series,
that's also exactly. That's what I was gonna mention. So for the driver of the week, I was going back and forth with Frankie Muniz and Andy Jankowiak. I ended up putting Andy Jankowiak ahead of Frankie Muniz only because he finished a spot better, and I feel like this guy is pretty underrated. Honestly, this guy has had some pretty good runs this season, so we'll mention that later in this as well. But yeah, great bringing that up. Frankie Muniz, first top 5. I mean, this guy just gets better and better, especially on a race where it looked like it was over when he had that flat tire and he ends up rebounding for a top 5. Just a phenomenal job to rebound through the carnage. Xfinity race, we saw Josh Berry and Allgaier on the front row. I believe Berry was on pole. Allgaier led pretty early. We had a bunch of different cautions early, especially one that sent Carson Hocevar airborne here when we saw all 3 of the Gibbs cars make contact. This is some JRM stuff, man. Like, we only see the JRM cars wreck each other, and we saw the Gibbs cars in a big tussle here.
Look, I just want to point this out. I was going through YouTube. I saw somebody posted a video of every time the junior motorsports cars made contact this year. 9 minutes long.
Yeah.
9 minutes. Just this year.
It's crazy.
I just thought that was funny. Good, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, though.
Now it's turning into Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, JRM's been really good the last few weeks, and now Joe Gibbs is the one running into each other. Road America, they were all running into each other. You got this week, they're running into each other.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff that's been happening there in the Xfinity series. But to note here, we had Allgaier win stage 1. We had Nemechek win stage 2. Pretty much the best 2 cars, in my opinion, throughout the race. But fortunate for Nemechek, he ends up winning the race, 5th win of the season here in the 20 car, just absolutely continuing this dominant season quest that he's going for a championship. I mean, really, who would you say is at his level or can compete with him for this championship, barring anything bad happening in the playoffs for Nemechek?
Nah, I don't even think Austin Hill has anything for him, and that's the closest guy in my opinion. Well, in terms of wins, I mean that's the closest guy right now. I feel like a lot of Joe Gibbs is turning up right now, right? I mean not only in this series but in Cup as well. But I think that probably for that mid-season there they were testing a lot of stuff. But that whole JGR camp is fast, but they just don't have what Nemechek has. I mean, nobody has what Nemechek has. I mean, absolute championship favorite right now, for sure. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else. I mean, you could say Austin Hill, but I mean that guy's hasn't been relevant. I mean, okay, so he won a race, a couple weeks ago, whatever. But it's still not like the performance that Nemechek is having.
Yeah, Austin Hill doesn't have that dominant. He was
Yeah.
the best car this entire, other than the super speedways, which this year RCR is by far the best car out on a super speedway. Nobody's even close. We saw that at Atlanta, especially.
Well, you can't even. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was just gonna make a Sheldon Creed joke, but go ahead.
Don't do it.
Don't even get me started on Sheldon Creed. Oh, don't even get me started. But you could make an argument for Allgaier. He's been very consistent lately, and JRM seems to be hitting their stride now. I mean, you got Sam Mayer came out with a win, and now you have Allgaier, who's been very consistent. Josh Berry has shown more speed. Brandon Jones is the only odd man out, and even lately he's been better too. I think JRM is finally starting to find their groove. That Allgaier might be able to make a run, but at the moment nobody's stopping Nemechek. He's on fire.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Allgaier prediction there. I think he is a super dark horse right now. But like you mentioned, I mean, every week this guy's got the speed, and if you're gonna win the championship late in the season, if you can't get the wins, the best you can do is just be fast like he has, and they're bringing fast race cars. I think Allgaier's one to watch and maybe contend with Nemechek for this championship.
And track final race is at Phoenix, and that's Allgaier's favorite track. So
exactly.
I mean, he almost had it last year too. Obviously, with Gregson, I think Gregson was probably getting the better equipment at the end of the year. Let's be real, between him and Gibbs. But I think this year, if Allgaier gets there, there's a chance Allgaier can make a run. But we'll see if Allgaier can even get there. JRM has to be more consistent for them to make championship four.
Can't be taking each other out.
One win. Yeah. So we'll see.
Alrighty. So next we'll talk about the IMSA race, the IMSA Sports Car Weekend at Road America. First off, I want to talk about the warm up in the morning there of race day. You want to talk about that a little bit, Tom? Because it kind of hurts my soul to even think about, because I picked them as my favorite.
Well, this absolute Chad of a driver going through his warm up lap. I forget which corner, but it doesn't matter because this man went and stuffed it in the wall on the final warm up. I mean, what? They had to change the whole rear end of that car. I saw pictures of them taking the bell housing out and it just splitting in half. What are you? You're on pole, my guy. What are you trying to prove? All this does is just look. Most people don't really care about this. Not even the driver, probably. But it costs so much to replace that rear end. But not only that, somebody has to do it. They're crew members. If you allow me, I'd like to share a story. We were 2017 at the Belle Isle IndyCar race, the doubleheader deal. We're going out to qualify. Carlos Munoz goes through turn 1 and just absolutely kills the wall. And he just smacked it with his right side, but that whole right side was gone. It cracked the engine block, broke the bell housing. The rear gear or the rear end was literally split in half. I mean, we're talking about not only body work, but the mechanical workings of the car. We had an hour and a half to get that car back together to make the grid. But the point of that was we qualified last. What's the point? Seriously. I remember it was like 105 degrees and I am just sweating Niagara Falls around my whole freaking body. Everybody's yelling at each other and there's Penske guys coming over throwing crap at our car and, trying to just get this car on the grid. It's like, man, screw this. I ain't about this. Screw this noise, man. I'm out of here, But this is, the cars that we're building, kit cars. Put a new floor on it. Put a new side pod on it. Put some upper and lowers on. Put a new, gearbox, rear wing, bumpers. That's no big deal. These guys right here, we're talking about whole pieces of the car that needed to be replaced. Insane to me. And I know I've been going on for this rant for a little bit too long, probably, but you know what? It's justified. You, sir, certified bonehead.
Certified bonehead.
And I hope that more people realize this than just me, because that was just terrible. And the second it happened, I was just like, man, Those poor crew guys. And then I cracked open a beer. Drank it on my couch.
They all went home and cracked open a beer after that, too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, 6 hours later.
Yeah, testament to them, though. They got it together, and that car still had speed. It still had speed.
The unsung heroes of the paddock every weekend are the crew members of every team.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and then the hard thing is, I mean, Sims put together an amazing qualifying lap. I mean, he blistered the field with that qualifying lap. To wreck the car, they got to fix the car, start from the rear, just killed their weekend. They were your points that are coming in. So, Sims, sir, you were nominated for Bonehead Move of the Week, but it gets even better. Here's why it gets better. We're doing the formation lap, right? The guy that's running third in points, Steve Filippi with that number 25 BMW team, he spins it out into the gravel on a formation lap. I've been singing this guy's praises for the last 3 races in the IMSA series because of how they've gotten that BMW team from the depths of the bottom of the GTP class, and they've climbed this thing up to third in points, and then they kill their race right away when they could have taken advantage of Porsche's Penske number 6 car and the Wheeling Cadillac team, who both were having trouble this weekend. They could have taken the points lead, and then D. Filippi on the formation lap puts this thing in the gravel, kills their race. Unbelievable. Just absolute shenanigans out of IMSA this weekend. And then from after this, the race starts. The number 7 Porsche Penske team, the team that has had absolutely terrible year. Nazar has turned into a non-existent race car driver this season. Matt Campbell has just been off his game. They're starting from the pole. Well, they end up taking it to victory lane. Congratulations to the number 7 Porsche Penske team. I believe every team has won a race in IMSA this year. I think the number 24 BMW is the one that hasn't. And then obviously the 2 customer Porsches haven't won yet because they're fairly new, don't have the resources, younger drivers haven't won. But that's crazy. I mean, this year in IMSA has been so diverse. It's like anybody can win on any given week. It's absolutely phenomenal what we're seeing right now at IMSA. Another team to note, though, is the 60 Acura team, right? They had that 200-point penalty right off the year at Daytona, and they're in a huge hole in points. They gained a ton of points over the last few weeks. I mean, they're the only team with multiple wins this season. They keep getting podiums like they're going out of style. I mean, who knows? Maybe they can climb into this. There's a few more races left this season. Maybe they can climb back into this battle. But right now, if we look at the points, we currently have the number 10 Acura with Albuquerque and Ricky Taylor. They're leading the points with 2171. And then the Cadillac team, like I mentioned with Durrani and Sims, they've moved down to second in points, 14 points back. And then the BMW team, they're still in third, but they're 73 points back. Lost a bunch of ground this weekend. So really, I feel like it's still wide open. I feel like anybody can win this GTP title. And then to note your other winners, we had a huge battle there between the Aston of Gunn and the Cadillac of Garcia there late. But unfortunately, the Cadillac had a penalty with fueling. They didn't spend enough time fueling the car. Ended up getting a penalty. I know that they ended up fighting with the IMSA officials to try and get that penalty erased, but they're not Big Daddy NASCAR. They don't change the rules mid-race for somebody to be benefited. So they did have to make a pass-through, end up losing the race. So your winners in LMP2, again, Riley Motorsports there with Robinson and Fraga. They're just dominating LMP2. LMP3. And then in LMP2, we have Chatting and Keating. They end up winning LMP2, my bad. And they've been one of the best teams so far this season. And then Heart of Racing, the Aston team with Riberas and Gunn win GTD Pro. And they've been having a turnaround. It's crazy. The way they started the season and where they're at now has been night and day. And then obviously Paul Miller's number 1 with Snow and Sellers continues to dominate the GTD class. Just insane the season that they're having. Yeah, that pretty much summarizes the IMSA weekend there. A few more races to go. Super exciting. I want to talk about the Pilot Challenge race real quick, the Road America 120. We saw the BMW with McGinnis on pole. I mean, they've been pretty much up front every week. And then when I saw he was on pole, I almost wanted to turn it off because he is a massive goofball and I do not like him. I don't know why. I look him in the face and I'm just like, I hate this guy already. We did have a big wreck on lap 1, turn 5. I mean, that's pretty much the contact point there with any series at Road America. Turn 5 is just shenanigans. We piled up a bunch of them there on lap 1. It turned into a fuel strategy race. towards the end, and the Windward Mercedes with Morad and Ward end up winning Grand Sport by extending their fuel run. Pretty crazy. And then the Alfa Romeo with Block and Lewis, they win TCR again. They've been pretty unstoppable in TCR this season, continuing their championship run. So congratulations to them. Next, we'll talk about the Indy NXT, the Music City Grand Prix by Firestone. We saw Rasmussen on pole. Him and Siegel, teammates, been battling for the championship this year. He qualifies on pole. He goes all the way to the checkered there from pole to checkered. Just a dominant performance by him. We had a couple crashes with Bogle, Francis, and with Frost all eating a wall. That's typical at a street course and Indy NXT in general. And then I guess the major controversy here was when Jacob Abel threw that aggressive block on, I believe it was Louis Foster. Yeah, he did what the double move where you make a block and then you go make a second block. They only gave him a 1-spot penalty for that. And it cost Louis Foster like 8 spots because he had to go through the runoff area. I mean, how ridiculous is that to throw a double block, mess the other guy's race completely up, and then you only lose 1 spot? And he gave it away in an easy zone where he could retake him back, so there's no penalty essentially. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah, that's look.
That sounds like a NASCAR decision, honestly.
yeah. What? You know what? The year that Foster has had this year, it's just insane. Whatever, man. It's typical.
Yeah, he's having a Sheldon Creed-esque year. It's just insane. Yep. He's due to win one of these races one of these days. I mean, he is just getting ruined. It's unfortunate.
I think what the main part of what I could back that up with is when they were in Detroit and he won pole with a broken upper control arm. I mean, the dude's got speed.
He's insane.
He can't deny that. And then starting the race, he gets clobbered by Abel. Is that right? Was Abel?
No, it was McLaren. Dude, that dude is.
That's
an absolute moron. We've had him as a bonehead nominee multiple times on this.
He's a weapon
this season. He is an absolute weapon.
Dangerous.
Yes,
like a fire in a nursing home.
So yeah, like I said, Rasmussen ends up winning from the pole. Extends that championship lead over Siegel. I think it's pretty safe to say it's almost over unless he has an absolute failure on a race where he can't finish and Siegel maximizes points day, but it's looking like that teammate championship battle is kind of coming to an end there. Next, we'll talk about the IndyCar race, right? The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix there at Nashville Street Course. Saw McLaughlin on pole. Caution lap 12, Malukas' wing collapse. Have you ever seen somebody's wing collapse? I mean, it just fell off. And he was running like 4th. Yeah. I mean, how unfortunate.
It's, look, so this might come to a surprise to others, but to the people who follow this really closely, Dale Coyne, he doesn't have the greatest equipment. I mean, that rear wing pillar, probably pushing 12 years old. Probably.
Aren't they partnered with Rick Ware Racing? Doesn't that make it worse?
Look, that's I was just going to say, that doesn't make it any better. But what I will say, though, is that Dale Coyne realizes that a good-looking car is not necessarily a fast car. He puts all of his R&D into like 7 posts and shock development and stuff like that, and that's where you see most of the speed coming out of these Dale Coyne cars. Now, if you were to go to an IndyCar race and you saw this 18 car out on track, it's hideous. It is the worst looking car on the grid, week in and week out, but it doesn't matter. Hey, look, they're running top 5 most of the time. A heck of a lot better than the Foyt cars. They sure look good, but Christ's sake, they're slow. I mean, but it does not surprise me that a pillar broke. Something could have happened over the bumps, and what I was saying with the old parts there, or maybe some contact happened off camera that they couldn't find. So
yeah, anything.
It happens, especially under the heat that these cars are under. Not necessarily like the ambient temperature, but like the exhaust temps that are coming out there. Totally delaminate some carbon. So, it to me not really surprising. It could happen. could have happened to anybody, but I'm it's crazy, sure. I've seen it happen before where even a piece that I've installed on one of these cars de-lammed, and it was a bad deal, but we caught it in time. It wasn't in a race.
Yeah, just super unfortunate there for that team running P4 at the time and really killed their race. It was a big strategy race. There wasn't a lot of action going on early on. Kirkwood ended up taking the lead there through strategy around lap 46. Really, the cautions were in the end of this race. We saw Lundqvist, I believe that was his name, racing for the 60 car for Wayne Taylor Racing.
Meyer
Shank Racing. Yeah, that's right. And it was unfortunate for him. He was doing very good for being a rookie in that car. And then shenanigans, right? We had a restart. There was 6 to go and an absolute pile up. I know you've got a really strong opinion on the guy that drives that 55 car. Do you want to share it?
I mean, that's your typical ARCA brake turn into a corner. I mean, these guys were wrecking for like a solid 10 seconds, and Pedersen comes in here and he's like, I want to join the party, and just absolutely clobbers these guys. Or I guess Foyt ran out of freaking money to hire a spotter or something. Good lord.
There was like 2 lanes wide open underneath that, and he was in the back of the... I don't know how he piled into this. I have no idea, dude.
This man channeled his inner freaking, I don't know, Gus Dean going into this corner and just whatever, man. That was... Go ahead.
Have you guys seen the video of the brawl in Alabama on the dock? Where those people started
did see that.
So Pedersen is the guy with the folding chair that just went ham on everybody. He came flying in there. He just is like folding chair. He's like, all right, screw you guys, and he just comes pounding into it with that.
Maybe he just wanted to go home early. I don't know. It was bad.
It was hot in those cars. He probably was. He's like done. I'm like, I'm done racing on this street course. It's hot out here. I'm going home.
I'm already in the back anyway. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Yeah, that's gonna nominate Pedersen here as Bonehead of the Week nominee. But Kirkwood ends up moving on to win. I mean, is this guy like the new street course specialist? I mean, he's already got 2 wins on street courses this year, and the equipment is not on par with the Ganassi stuff. So, wow. I mean, crazy. Kirkwood, 2 wins this season, street courses.
Surprising, honestly.
Wow. Alrighty. Well, we'll see what he can do this weekend with Indy Road Course. We'll be touching on that here in a minute. And then the last race this weekend was the Cup Series. Actually, let's go to IndyCar points real quick before I gloss over that. Palou is still your points leader, 84 points ahead of Newgarden and 126 over Dixon. So, I mean, 1 oval left. So Newgarden's going to have to make some miracles happen here if he's going to catch Palou. Yeah. We've talked about this several times before. It looks like Palou is just on another level. I mean, he really is. All right, now the Cup Series race, the Firekeeper Casino 400. We saw Christopher Bell on pole. Wasn't up there very long. Chastain got to the lead. We saw Kyle Busch have an incident underneath Blaney, get into the wall. We also saw Elliott lose a tire and crash. I mean, I don't think we've seen a tire go down in quite a while in the Cup Series. That was pretty shocking for me to see that happen. I mean, I think that just summarizes the year that the 9
Elliott
team has
blew
had.
a tire?
Yeah, blew a tire.
I thought he ran out of talent.
Well, that was a good comparison.
Hey, if we want to use that argument, Tyler Reddick had a tire fall off and he didn't hit the wall, so maybe Chase Elliott did run out of talent a little bit.
True.
I mean, he still kind of had a tire.
Dallas, I am on board with this train, my guy. I am on board.
No, it was a tire that went down. It was flattened.
Dang.
Yeah, insane. I don't think we've seen that for a while now, right? I mean, I can't remember the last tire going down in the Cup Series. It's crazy.
Eric, I'm gonna blow my tire now.
Yeah, but I mean, we know how that happened.
Yeah. 10 cars in the lead. All right, expect a blown out tire here in a second.
Right.
Man, it wasn't. Yeah, there was a few people that had tires going down too. It wasn't just Chase Elliott. There's quite a few people that had a tire. There's 3 or 4 instances, I think, throughout the race where there was tire failures.
Yeah, it's so Yeah, exactly. So when Elliott had the tire go down, we saw Truex win stage 1. Truex was probably head over heels the best car throughout the race. Um, Josh Berry had a crash in this race. We saw a crash for the lead with Bell and Bowman going side by side. Really weird situation there. Bell, I feel like he just drove it into the corner too far and just went around. Just a product of as Big Daddy NASCAR's terrible car. I feel like that's just weird that you can't race side by side anymore.
Yeah. And you want to know the funny thing about this? All that damage that Chris Bell got towards the end of that race, he turned out to be the fastest car on track.
Yeah, how crazy. How crazy.
I think it's funny that if you show up to the track and you don't have a diffuser, like they're going to send you home because it's illegal. But if you get into a crash and lose your diffuser, basically what happened to him, they're just like, oh, no, you can still send it. You're still going to go out there.
There's so many of those scenarios that have happened so far this season. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I do got to give him props. I didn't think he was going to have any speed with how much damage is on the rear of that car.
I give that team props. I mean, they had to sit there overnight with a destroyed race car and come up with a game plan to try and finish the rest of that race. Like, how demoralizing would that be to have a wrecked race car and have to stay an extra night in a hotel room, and then that's perseverance right there. That's what championship teams are made out of right there. Yeah, so like I mentioned, they had to come back the next day because lap 75, rain delay. Reddick was the lead at the time of, led for 18 hours. That's pretty impressive. And then, that's the other tire issue you were talking about was Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece lost a tire there, fairly or not too far off of a pit stop. So that was really weird scenario there for Ryan Preece losing that tire. Truex again went stage 2. And then a major incident there in stage 3 was when I believe Bowman went to avoid contact with Cindric, put somebody in the wall. I think it was Gilliland. Bowman basically turned himself off the nose of the 14 car, up into the wall, killed his day. Again, no interliners on these cars, so destroyed his entire car trying to pull that thing back to pit lane, like we saw with Logano at Pocono. Can we not put interliners on these tires? I mean, what is going on here? Why are we letting these tires go flat and destroying these cars, getting them back to pit road? I don't understand it.
I don't either.
I've said this multiple times this season.
They look cool.
You go with NASCAR's excuse, just don't crash the car and you don't got to worry about it.
Yeah. I guess there you go.
Spin out, you're not going to lose the tire.
Big Daddy NASCAR coming in with the ban hammer.
They need to do something about that. Like, I get it. You spin out, you should have some sort of penalty for spinning out. But losing 2 or 3 laps because you physically can't move your car, even though your car is perfectly fine, you just have even 2 flat tires can park your car.
Yeah. And then your car gets destroyed because of the way that they tow them back to pit lane. They don't put them on a rollback or anything. They just hook the thing up on chains and just drag the dang thing. I mean, I go to my local speedway and they've got a Gradall. They bring a Gradall out and pick the thing up on a Gradall and haul it back to the pits, and they don't do any damage to those cars. And then NASCAR's over here with a dang chain just dragging the thing down the freaking banking, just ripping the car to pieces. I mean,
they could throw it on a rollback real easy and then drop it off in the pits, have them change the tire. Like,
yeah, way more efficient ways, or just put a damn interliner in the tires like we've had for 65 plus years. When you go flat, you're still off the ground enough to drag it back to pit lane.
Jay. Gosh, you're talking this common sense again. This. I mean, come on. We already know where this is gonna go.
Yeah, you're right. We can we can beat that horse till it's dead, and it ain't gonna change anything. But then after that, we saw Buescher to the lead there on that next restart, and from there on, we didn't really have any cautions, and he played the strategy right, like you mentioned with Reddick. He actually was able to leap Buescher there. Fortunately, they didn't tighten the right rear tire down, and it came off. Saved it, incredible save. Unfortunately, this 45 team just can't find a way to get to the end of these races with a good race car. It's unfortunate.
As a Tyler Reddick fan, that hurt. And I didn't think that he had the car to win, but he jumped Buescher and pit road, and those 2 cars were about equal. And that's when I was like, okay, as long as he's ahead of Buescher, it's fine. Obviously, knowing that Buescher went on to win the race and holding off Truex, that if Reddick was in front of him and Truex couldn't even get around Buescher, that Reddick probably would have easily walked away with that win and probably opened up quite a bit of distance on the end there too. So that hurt, especially when they knew that it wasn't on, or they had even a suspicion that it wasn't on. They could have taken that extra second and just
well they took the extra second anyways because they were putting all this fuel in it. I mean, the cars were basically bone dry coming into the pits. You know, and
they had a slow stop regardless because he already questioned. They dropped the jack and he went to go put it underneath it because they questioned whether the tire was on, and they were just like, no, let's send it. I don't know.
But you know what? And this might be a hot take or not. I think that Reddick was faster than Buescher.
I agree.
But Truex was the car to beat. But what was really the car to beat was the car in first place.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if you stuck freaking Harrison Burton out in front. You just couldn't pass. You couldn't do it.
Well,
whoever was out front
air.
getting that clean air. Yeah. Whoever was getting that clean air, I mean, it was pretty much set in stone. And you know what? Truex made a valiant effort to try to get around Buescher, but it's just he couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was a great battle. It was a great battle.
I'm trying to think of the only pass for green flags was on restarts, and then Truex winning the second stage by, I don't know how. I think he was 36 with 2 laps to go in the stage, and he found a way to drive it up to the front. That car was that car looked like it had like nitrous or something in it.
Yeah, that car needed to go to R&D for sure. I think that car was
yeah, they must have beat something out or pulled a piece of tape off the nose there in a pit stop or something to
I think if he would have won that race, whoever finished second was going to be the winner, because I feel like they were going to attack that car and he was going to lose that race. But fortunate for him, he finished second. I think that was the best thing he could have done. So yeah, Buescher 2 in a row. RFK unstoppable right now. I mean, Keselowski had a chance to win this race. I feel like at a point, strategy was a little off, waiting a little longer to pit, really opened the door for Buescher. I mean, can we maybe start looking at Buescher to be in a dark horse for this title fight here? I mean, where do they go where he's not fast? I mean, that's what I want to know, because they've been there all season long. It takes the wins for him to get the recognition, right?
Well,
I think at the moment, no, but RFK is trending in the right direction. And I was listening to Sirius XM this morning, and Kelly Crandall brought up a good point. And they're like, if you asked me 2 weeks ago who the best Ford team was, I couldn't give you an answer. But if you ask me today, the best Ford team in the garage is RFK. And I believe that. Especially Keselowski. Look at how he finished that race. He didn't really have that much speed all day, but somehow they managed to find speed at the end. He finished 4th. He had to drive through 15 cars to finish 4th at the end of the race. I don't know what they found in the last few weeks, especially, but those cars have some speed. And if they can keep that trending in the right direction, maybe not to win the championship, but a possibility to make the championship 4 is not out of the question for Chris Buescher.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm conflicted because we could have said the same thing about Trackhouse last year and Ross Chastain, right? He had 2 wins coming in, except they were spread apart a little bit. But Ross was also dealing with all this on-track drama and everything. But did we really think that Trackhouse could make it to the Final 4? Like, honestly, like your honest opinions, did you sincerely think Trackhouse had a chance to the Final 4? My opinion would have been absolutely not. And I'm a relative Ross Chastain fan. And I could tell you, no, I mean, there's no way that Ross is going to make it, you know, but I think it's almost a similar situation with RFK. I could sit here and say, yeah, I don't think RFK is ready. I think Chris Buescher as a driver is ready, but I don't think RFK as a team is ready with what they bring to the track. Now, the last 2 weeks, they've brought some pretty good pieces, you know. I think the true test is what we're going to see this weekend on what they can bring to Indy Road Course, if they're fast or not.
I think they've been fast all year. I mean, you look at the results that they've had this season and the points where they're running in the points. They're running higher in points than
I get it.
Than even most of the guys that have already won this season. It's just, I feel like we're giving them the recognition now because they've got the wins. I feel like they've always been the best Ford team this season.
I get it. I do. I guess that's a really hard pitch. I guess. Like if you were going to go up to somebody and say, you know, invest $20 for RFK to get to the Final 4, you know, would you do it?
Reach. Yeah, that's a reach. I think that they can make it to the Elite 8 or the Final 8 easily. I think
you say it and it sounds insane, but you think about it on paper and you're like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But just saying RFK in the Final Four in 2023 sounds so weird. It does.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That's just my.
It's just going to
I
be the
sincerely
determining
hope.
factor is going to be, can all the rest of the guys not be so inconsistent, right? We've only seen
Right.
Truex be the most consistent all season. I mean, Byron has got the wins, and he was so fast early on, but where has he been? He's off a cliff right now. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the better question would be not if RFK can make it in, but if somebody else can fall apart in the playoffs. I think that Buescher has a real chance at the round of 8. But I think if realistically 6th is probably where he would end up finishing if he makes it to the round of 8 at the best.
yeah, I'm with you
Unless you have William Byron, whose team again midsummer last year just fell off a bus and they were non-existent until last 5 weeks of the playoffs. Even they didn't even have a good playoff stretch, but just barely made it. Like Chase Elliott too. Hendrick did not have a good playoff stretch at all with any of their cars, and it took a lot of luck for Chase Elliott to even have a chance in the Final Four. So it's a possibility, but I think they would need some help for that to happen.
Alrighty. So now, with that being said, we'll go straight to the point standings. Truex is your points leader, 57 points ahead of Hamlin. So I'm just trying to chase down that regular season championship. And then Byron, like I said, falling off a cliff. He's back 96 points behind Truex now. I mean, he was within 5 points like a couple weeks ago. It's just, where did he go? And then the cut line, right? We got Gibbs, who I said multiple times here, a couple podcasts back, that he was going to point his way in. He's currently sitting 16th in points, 3 points ahead of McDowell. So, wow, crazy. this, and then I think Suarez is 5 points behind that. So, these next couple weeks are going to be huge for the playoffs. I guess next I want to talk about our extra segment here. Me and Tom were talking about this last Thursday, I think, after we did the NSR stream. The Racing Mount Rushmore. Here we go. I'll lead it off with how I define my Racing Mount Rushmore isn't necessarily being successful in one racing discipline, right? You got to be absolutely diverse. That's what makes you a GOAT. So obviously, I'm gonna take Mario Andretti as my front runner here, because this guy won everything he ever drove. The only race that I think that he didn't win that was a marquee event was the 24-hour Le Mans. I think he finished second twice in that race. So I believe that he won Indy 500s, won Indy championships, NASCAR. He won the Daytona 500, won at Monaco, won F1 championship. I mean, this guy was unstoppable. Another guy I look at, AJ Foyt. This guy ran pretty much almost everything and won in everything as well. And then more modern era guys, I'm looking at Kyle Busch. I think he's 100% lock. I would love to see him jump into some open wheel stuff, because I think he would be super successful in really anything he could drive. He's won in pretty much everything he could drive, and he's still at the top of his game. And then the other one here, I think that this is kind of a sleeper. I don't think anybody really looks at this guy. Tony Stewart, right? I mean, he has won in USAC. He has won in IndyCar. He's won in NASCAR. He's won in sprint cars, SRX, IROC, everything, right? I mean,
I think he has a Silver Crown championship too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and he's won an NHRA. It's just add a cake to the cake. So, is there anybody else that I didn't mention that you guys might be looking or thinking could maybe potentially have a run at that Mount Rushmore?
Damn, I forget his name. We talked about it last week.
I know we did talk about this last week. I should have run some.
These conversations are really hard because it depends on who you ask and how your definition of like a Mount Rushmore is. Because you can have people that were the very best at what
one
they did,
discipline, right? Yeah.
and then you'd have people like Michael Schumacher. You'd have people like Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen right now is probably the greatest driver on the planet. I think you stick him in anything, he's probably going to win. But obviously, a lot of Formula One comes down to manufacturers and how the teams build the cars, because that's really the only sport right now where it kind of like how you build the car is the most like. I mean, that's kind of
the most of
determines
an
how you're gonna
influence,
finish.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you have people like Richard Petty, and I personally wouldn't put Richard Petty on there because of the competition of the day. I didn't think that the competition was that bad, and nothing against Richard Petty, but I think a lot of these current NASCAR drivers back in the day would probably have close to as many wins as Richard Petty have. So that's why I agree with somebody like Kyle Busch, where today's competition with how difficult it is, I 100% agree Kyle Busch should be on a Mount Rushmore of something. Even Jimmy Johnson, with how well he could control the car,
that would
be on
be
that.
another guy. The only thing that holds me back from putting him ahead of a Tony Stewart is if he would have just done a little better in IndyCar. I think he went there well past his prime, and that's what really kind of hampers his Mount Rushmore opportunity.
Just like you look at Jimmy Johnson now when he runs a cup race, does he really have a chance at winning? Probably
He's
not.
Way beyond his prime. Way beyond.
I think everybody wants to see him win, but I don't think he really has the ability to. So it kind of tarnishes his reputation. But yeah, I agree with Tony Stewart. I think he's a sleeper for Mount Rushmore. He's won in literally everything he's done. I don't know if you can find a driver more diverse in everything they do, other than maybe Kyle Larson right now. But his career's too young to. Go with right now.
I'm glad you said that. That's what me and Tom talked about.
We
said Kyle Larson. I think another one that I don't think anybody's given him any attention, but I think he needs a little bit of consideration is Juan Pablo Montoya. I think this guy was one of the most underrated race car drivers of all time. I really do. I'm a huge Montoya fan. I mean, what he's done in IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula One. I mean, this dude has done it all just about and was successful it's not like he's won, at all of it.
He hasn't won like fluke races either.
No.
He's won multiple races in everything he's done. He's a very good driver. Yeah, maybe not Mount Rushmore, but if they put but
consideration for
sure. Maybe if they built like a monument below Mount Rushmore, maybe that could be Montoya.
I don't think so. I mean, the man was a staple in F1 during his time there. You know, it's not like people were like, "Oh, great, here's Daniel Kvyat going torpedo into turn one," you know. But he was like Fernando Alonso 2023-esque driver, where this man could finish on podium in a Sauber.
Yeah.
And then he comes over to where'd he go from?
He went
F1 to IndyCar.
Yeah.
To NASCAR to IndyCar. Yep. And then IMSA. Right? So he came over to IndyCar, lit the world on fire. And then he went to NASCAR.
Literally lit the world on fire for a little bit.
He did very well. Yes.
No, very well. Very
well. For about 2 hours there, the Daytona track was on fire. Yes. But a different discipline, but he won.
Yeah.
I mean that goes to say something. And then not only that, he gets booted from that program, Ganassi's program, to go drive for Penske in IndyCar, runs for a championship the first year and gets screwed on the last race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then he goes to IMSA and starts winning.
Yeah. So, kicking ass in IMSA, too. I mean, yeah.
I would absolutely say that Montoya is, that's a great point to bring up there, Jay. Absolutely. I think Montoya.
I think he's the closest thing that we have to a modern day Mario Andretti as Montoya. I mean, he literally did it all. We desperately, as racing fans, need a driver that is willing to, at 18, 19, 20 years old, jump into Formula One, do that for 5-6 years, jump over to IndyCar, do that for 4 or 5 years, jump over to IMSA, NASCAR, just do it all in a short period of time. We just need somebody like that desperately. So maybe we can find that someday again.
I think we're starting to see it, Jay. I think the generation of bringing some V8 supercar drivers over to NASCAR is going to open up a new world.
I think so.
Not only are we going to be seeing these drivers partake in some NASCAR races, we could probably see these guys, if they get the opportunity to run some dirt, or maybe go and run an IMSA race and do that, and maybe. And I'm shooting real far here, okay? So bear with me, but. A driver gets injured in IndyCar, and their backups are out of town. They're racing another series and all this other stuff. And hey, this weekend, great example. Lundqvist is filling in for Simon Pagenaud still after his wreck. Could it be an opportunity where we're doing a NASCAR IndyCar back-to-back where one of these guys can jump in and race an Indy? Look, I'm stretching, I get it, but the possibilities are endless here.
Yeah.
We could just be seeing a new generation of driver.
If you look at somebody like what Project 91 did with Kimi Räikkönen last year at Watkins Glen, that car was competitive. He might have not had winning speed, but he had top 5 speed for sure.
Yeah.
He came out there, and Kimi Räikkönen has never driven a NASCAR in his life. He's never driven a Cup car. No reason for him to be competitive because all these other guys have all this experience. But he came out there and he balled. He showed up.
He did.
he got into a wreck that wasn't his fault at all. And if it wasn't for that, Kimi Räikkönen might have finished top 5 in that race. I have no doubt in my mind he could have. And we're starting to see that more with drivers. A V8 supercar like Shane Van Gisbergen at Chicago. He has experience in cars that obviously there's nothing like a Cup car out there, but V8 supercar, stock cars, there's a lot of similarity, and he was able to put that on there. But I wonder what he would do if he came into a dirt car. I wonder how he would do if he drove an Indy car. I think that he'd still be very competitive with that.
We get to see it this weekend, baby.
And we get to see Larson in the Indy 500 next year. So maybe we're getting towards a new era in motorsports. We're more crossovers. Yeah, that'll do our Mount Rushmore. Now it's time to do our previews for this weekend's races. We have the SRX at Eldora. We got ARCA and ARCA East companion race there at Lucas Oil, and the trucks are going to be there as well. And then we have Xfinity Cup, Indy NXT, IndyCar, all at the Indy Road Course. Massive weekend in the state of Indiana. All right, so notable entries: SRX, Matt Kenseth, Austin Dillon, Ron Capps, Chase Briscoe will all be racing on the dirt there this weekend. Truck Series, we have SVG driving it for the Nice number 41 car, Lane Riggs in the number 7 Spire. We got Swalich in the number 1 Tricon, Landon Lewis, which me and Tom have been pretty high on Landon Lewis. We think he's got a lot of talent. I know Ron Hornaday is really high on him too. He'll be racing the 04 for Roper, and then Greg Van Elsen, number 20 for Youngs. And then also Connor Jones in the 66 ThorSport, Jack Wood in the 51 KBM, and then I just put him on the notable entry list because I think he's an absolute missile. Armani the Missile Williams there for G2G. And then in the Xfinity, we got Catherine Legg in the 07 SS Greenlight. We got Allmendinger in the 10 colleague car. Gibbs in the JGR 19. Connor Daly, goofball Connor Daly, as Tom would say, in the Alpha ride. Sage Karam is also going to be running for Alpha. Miguel Paludo is back for Junior Motorsports. And Ross Chastain in the 91 DGM. And then the Cup Series. I mean, honestly, I think this is the most star-studded Cup Series field of all time. 75-year history. This is the most loaded field we have ever seen in a NASCAR race. We have Jenson Button is with Rick Ware Racing. We've got Brody Kostecki with the number 33 RCR car. Andy Lally in the number 51 Rick Ware Racing car. Kamui Kobayashi in the number 67 2311 car. We got SVG back in the Trackhouse, number 91. We got Josh Bilicki in the 78 Live Fast car, and then Mike Rockenfeller in the 42 Legacy Motor Club car. I am stoked. So we'll start our predictions off here with the Eldora SRX race. My favorite for this weekend is Tony Stewart. I think he's just going to master the dirt. He's going to get her done and get his SRX win for the season. And then my dark horse, I'm taking Matt Kenseth. I don't think he's good on dirt. I've never seen him race dirt. I don't think he has any expectations coming into here, but I feel like he's someone to watch. I'm a huge Matt Kenseth fan. I think he can do some great things this weekend. We'll go Tom, and then we'll go to Dallas. So, Tom, who do you got?
I got Newman as my favorite because I don't know. I like Newman. And then for my dark horse, I got Briscoe because, man, this is his deal here. Dirt's his deal, right? So that's who I got.
I'm gonna have to go with Stewart. I mean, this is literally his track. He's got probably the most dirt experience in the field. He's running the best, I think, out of everybody that has a chance with the dirt. I've got to go with Stewart as the favorite, and my dark horse. And you guys are probably gonna hate me for this, but it's Haley Deegan.
I mean, she fits the bill.
She does decently well on dirt. She performs well on dirt, and she's been running these cars a lot better. I think she has a chance. Didn't she win an SRX race?
No, I don't think so. I don't think she's won.
She finished. She finished second, and it was at Eldora, was it not? It was at Eldora. She did finish second at Eldora. I think it was the first year, so maybe that's not a fair thing because everybody is still new to the car. But she did finish second.
The day she wins is the day I will eat crow.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I want her to be my favorite now because I want her to win on Thursday.
I'm hoping that she wins. My God. I really am. I really am hoping she wins. We need her to be good, and she just just hasn't done it. Just hasn't done it.
I think
if
anybody needs her to be good, it's herself, because she needs that for the confidence. I think she gets a little bit more confidence behind her. She'll be a pretty good driver.
I think Ford needs it too, because they're just watching their money go away, disappear in thin air.
No, she's too marketable. She's making more money for Ford. They could spend more. They could throw her in a cup car, and Ford would still be making money in the end.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
We'd see
have
the
to see.
I don't want
come out.
Haley Deegan in a cup car yet, Ford. If you're watching this, don't put her in there yet.
They do watch. They do watch. So be careful with what you say.
They do. They do. Clint Boyer watches.
Clint
we know
Boyer
that
watches.
for sure.
Dale Jarrett watches. Dang, he stole the best iRacers in the business. Dang, this weekend on the dang race. Dang guy. So yeah, they are watching. They are tuned in to the Dega Boys, which leads me to this next segment. We have a membership program here. So if you guys are listening, Clint Boyer, we know you are, make sure to join up as a member of the Dega Boys channel. And maybe you can make an appearance on the broadcast and podcast.
Hey, Clint, just between you and me, my guy, I see you giving away 10G all the time. That's Clint's cash every weekend. If you can look, all we're asking for is $10, my guy.
$10.
$10.
And I don't know if it sweetens the deal, Clint, but Clint, you get a membership. Chris Pie 5 right here for you, buddy.
Yeah. And you get you get special privileges and chats. You know, you can come chill with us, my
man.
guy.
Yeah, come chill with us, Clint. We'd love to have you. Alrighty. Next will be the ARCA East companion race there. The Reese's 200 at Lucas Oil. I'm taking William Swalich as my favorite. I mean, that's a no-brainer. This guy is just unstoppable. I mean, if anybody's going to beat him, her favorite would be Jesse Love. I know me and Tom go back and forth switching between those two guys every week. So it's my turn to take Swalich this time. And then my dark horse, Tony Breinger. I am a huge Tony Breinger fan. I know we've been harping her like crazy on this channel, and she's got so much potential. She keeps getting better and better and better week in, week out. And I think she's in a Venturini car. I mean, what better way would it be for her to get her first ARCA win this weekend? So that's my dark horse. Who do you got, Tom?
Okay, well, I mean, I got Jesse Love for my favorite, because
Jesse Love.
my God, I am not going to end this tradition. All right. But then my dark horse is Breidinger as well, man. Like, look, a string of top 5 she's in right now. The biggest momentum she has going for her, you know, is just putting in those performances and going to the track knowing that, you know, she does have the ability to do this. I don't think she has a doubt in her mind that she can't do it. I think she believes she's a great driver. I believe she is very underrated. Very underrated. And I think that it's only a matter of time before we see her win a race in the ARCA Series in a very, very tough competitive field. I have no doubt in my mind, with a little bit of driving ability and some strategy, that this Breidinger number 55, is that right? 55? Yeah, it's 55. Venturini car can win a race. I think it's a matter of time, honestly.
I agree. I haven't watched enough ARCA this year to know who's running really well, other than Jesse Love. But I don't want to pick Jesse Love because I'm kind of sick of Jesse Love winning all the time.
Look, I'm going to give you a solid choice right here. You ready? Swalich.
Yeah, that would be my next advice to you.
See, that would be my next one too. But I think we're going to go with Sean Hingorani.
Oh yeah, baby!
He's fast.
Oh yeah,
fast.
baby! Let's
Yes,
go! I'm a
fast.
huge Higurani fan. Let's do it.
I think he needs to calm his temper down a little bit so he doesn't get suspended again. But I think he can keep his head between his shoulders, that he has a chance to win it. I think he really does. That car has a lot of speed. I mean, all Venturini cars have a lot of speed. It's just whether or not he's going to get in a battle with his teammate again. Which really the only fight is Venturini versus Venturini usually. Dark horse. I'm going with my hometown boy, Luke Fenhouse. The race is 15 minutes away from me. I've seen him race before. I don't know if he's going to be competitive or not, but I want to see the guy win. I'm going to be there. I want to see him win. So
that's a great choice, honestly.
This is all stacked ARCA field. I was looking at the entry list earlier.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're about to see one of the best ARCA races of the season. So, alrighty, that does our picks for the ARCA. Next is the trucks, the T Sport 200, also at Lucas Oil. My favorite for this weekend. And the only reason I'm taking him is because he has been on an absolute mission recently. This guy is the podium master of racing. Ty Majeski. He is going to redeem himself after the last few failures, in my opinion, to get the victory, and still finding ways to still put it on the podium. I think he's going to do just that, and he's going to win this race. And then my dark horse here is Nick Sanchez. I'm a huge fan of the rookie class here in the Truck Series. These guys are unstoppable. Jake Garcia, Nick Sanchez, Rajah Cruz. Huge fan of all three of them. But this weekend, I believe that Nick Sanchez, he's in KBM equipment. I think he can contend with Majeski for this win. Who do you got?
I'm actually going to change this. Yeah, I am. I originally put Majeski, but you know what? I think this race is going to be insane. I think it's going to be absolutely crazy. I think we are going to see a rookie win this race, and I think it's going to be Rajah Caruth for sure. And yeah, that's just what I. Has anybody ever seen IRP? Like, I mean, we've seen it on iRacing, but have you seen it in real life? That track is small. It's got some decent banking to it, but it's a small track. It's gonna be crazy. I think. But then with my dark horse, I'm gonna go with the only obvious choice here, and that's Enfinger, because every time this race goes, or a Truck Series race just goes haywire, that dude somehow figures out how to get it up in front for the last lap. Every time. So, I don't think it'd be a stretch at all to say that Enfinger has a chance to win this race. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with Enfinger. It doesn't matter where you go. Enfinger is going to be competitive. The team has been solid all season long. I think riding the momentum, my favorite's got to be Carson Osavar. He's riding a lot of momentum this year. Every single track he's going to, he's getting faster and faster and faster. And it wouldn't surprise me for him to walk out of there with a win this weekend. My dark horse, Nick Sanchez. Nick Sanchez is ready for a win. I think Nick Sanchez can get it done this weekend as well. Either one of those two trucks, I see. I think any of the guys that we mentioned this weekend would have a really decent chance. It'd be nice to see Rajah Caruth, like you said, to get a win. I think that truck has shown a lot of speed this year at times where I think they could put a full race together. They have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're in a great time for the Truck Series. That's got to be the most stacked rookie class that we've seen in years in the Truck Series. It's phenomenal. Next, we'll do the Indy NXT, the Firestone Grand Prix at Indianapolis. I think this is an obvious take here. I'm taking Rasmussen. He's just going to continue his dominance. He's going to win again, extend his points lead over Siegel, and that's all you could say. And then I'm going to take Jacob Abel. I know that he has been so off this season, but it seems like every once in a while, out of the blue moon, he'll throw a good run together like he did at Iowa. I think he's going to do something good this week. I think he's going to be on a podium at the end of this race. I think he's going to get a podium for sure. Who do you got, Tom?
I got Rasmussen too. I mean, he's just on fire right now. It'd be hard to choose anybody else, really. I mean, the closest guy you could pick is probably Foster, maybe. I mean, who's the guy second in points?
Nolan Siegel.
His name.
Nolan Siegel.
Thank you, Siegel. He'd be a great choice too, but Foster has such bad luck. Just can't bet on him. But Rasmussen is a safe choice. Siegel's a safe choice. I just think that Rasmussen is just on fire right now. But then with my dark horse, I'm going to go with Matthew Brabham again. I think with that little fire he has under his butt with the replacement of Nannini, he can get some work done, I think.
That's a great pick because that same car that he'll be racing this weekend won the first race at Indian Road Course earlier this year. So that's a great pick.
Yep.
I don't know much about these guys at all. To be honest, I've watched 2 NXT races so far this season. I didn't know who any of them were, so I didn't know who to watch for. I'm going to go with Rasmussen because I'm trusting you guys.
Great pick.
And my dark horse, because I've seen his name before and I like the guy, is Ernie Francis Jr.
That's a good
That's
all right.
The only other name in the field that I know.
Hey, that's not a bad choice.
It's not a bad choice at all. He's been getting so much faster week in, week out. So that is great.
Yeah, the couple of races I've watched, he's been consistently running, maybe not up front, but towards the back of towards the front of the midfield. So we'll go with that.
Yeah, and he's not in like the top equipment in the NXT either, so he is definitely outperforming, I believe, his equipment. So we'll see what he can do. Next will be the Pennzoil 150, the Xfinity Series race on Saturday. My favorite for this is going to be Allmendinger. I believe that you put him on a road course in the Xfinity Series, just unstoppable. I think that the Road America race was an absolute fluke for him. I don't think that is a representation of how he does on road course Xfinity. I think that they just missed it. So I think Allmendinger is going to win this race pretty handily. And then my dark horse, I think he is destined to win a race before the playoffs. He's going to get in. He's not going to have to worry about the playoff battle with Riley Herbst anymore. I think it's going to be Parker Kligerman. I think if anybody can beat Allmendinger this week, I think it's going to be Parker Kligerman. I think he's going to be right there with him. It's going to be a great battle. Who do you got, Tom?
I'm going to go with Allgaier. Because he's been turning up lately, and he's been fast. So I don't think, Road America, he ran pretty dang good. So I'm going to go with Allgaier. And then for the same exact reasons that you had, Jay, with Kligerman. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Solid picks. I can't disagree with any of those picks so far. I mean, if you don't pick Allmendinger, I think you're wrong. I mean, if the car is right, Allmendinger's going to win. I don't think there's a question about that. So if what happens with Road America happens again, somebody else is going to win. And I think that's going to be Cole Custer. That car has been fast everywhere they've gone this year. And Cole Custer I think he's been having a great season.
That's not a bad choice at all.
That'd probably be who I pick. Dark horse, because I want him to win, and you guys keep talking about him. Sheldon Creed.
Stop!
Sheldon Creed.
Stop!
We're gonna do it.
No.
We're gonna keep going for him until he wins.
I
He's
swear,
in that tight points battle.
if he
He's in the tight
wins,
point
I'm
battle.
going to be the
He needs to
happiest
have a good
man on
point
earth.
I think we're all going to be happy. We want him to win.
Oh,
The car has
so
the
bad.
speed to do it. The car has the speed to do it. And he's close in the playoffs. I think with this playoff push, he's going to make a attempt. He's going to try to keep it between the lines, not ruff too many feathers. Sheldon Creed, top 5 finish. Come on, do it for me, buddy.
I hope we can put that juju into the air. Come on, Sheldon Creed. Let's do it.
That's probably our fault, honestly. We're probly sucking it out of him. He
It's
probably
so
watches this and we
painful.
put too much pressure on him.
It's so painful.
Alrighty, so next will be the Gallagher Grand Prix Indianapolis for the IndyCar Series. I think this is an easy pick for me. I'm taking Palou. He won it earlier this year. Their strategist is just insane. He's definitely going to win this race, 100%. I don't see anybody competing with him. And then I think I'm really just kind of picking my dark horse for a podium guy. I think it's going to be Rosenquist. I think he's just been having terrible luck as of late. I mean, he gets piled into it at the last race in Nashville. He had some issues the previous race. Not really good oval racer, but I think did he qualify top 3 here earlier this year? And he ran up front with his teammates, got a podium. I believe he does it again. I think he gets another podium. So Rosenquist.
I got again Palou, because you just can't go wrong with Palou. It's on a whole different level right now. And then for my dark horse, I got Lundgaard again. That man took pole the first time around here. Was very fast. Got the strategy off a little bit. That was his true downfall for this race. I think that Rahal has learned from that. They're coming back with a lot more speed too. I think we're going to be seeing some great things, not only out of that 45 car, but the whole RLL camp.
Yeah. I don't want to say Palou because you guys have said Palou, but I gotta have to go with Palou. I mean,
Have to.
the dude's lights out this season. He's dominating the season. Anything that's not an oval, Palou's name is always up front.
Yeah.
So Palou's got to be the favorite. And my dark horse is going to be Pato O'Ward. He's had good runs all season long. He's got the speed. I think he can get it done. Probably finish second to Palou again, but Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, I mean the Arrow McLaren team, the first go at the Indy Road Course were just on fire. I think they all finished in the top 5. So that's why I went with Rosenquist. Great pick. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for in the chat, especially you, Andy. I don't know if you're still here. It took around this long, but we're about to give you our picks for the Cup Series Race of Horizon 200. Before we do that, I just want to make note that this Sunday, right here, live on YouTube, watch party, baby. You guys voted on it, and this is the most stacked field in NASCAR history. I'm not even going on a limb saying that. I truly believe it. This is the most stacked field we've ever seen in a NASCAR Cup Series race in the 75-year history. And now it's time to take our picks, right? I think the winning pick here, I think is pretty easy. I really do. I'm taking Tyler Reddick. This dude is the most underrated road course driver in modern NASCAR. I think he is better than Elliott when he was at his prime at road courses. I believe that he is going to win this race pretty handily. Toyota has turned it up as of late, and I think that if things would have went his way in Chicago Street Course, he would have won that race as well. He won this race last year. He won Road America last year. He won COTA earlier this year. This guy is the road course guy in the Cup Series. And he's got the experience on this track. His car's gonna be unstoppable. He's gonna get it done. And then for dark horse, I wanted to say McDowell. I'm actually changing my mind. I'm actually changing my mind right here on YouTube. I think it's gonna be Kamui Kobayashi. He's also in a 2311 Toyota. This dude is coming off of a win at the 6-hour Monza with the Toyota Gazoo team in the hypercar. I believe this guy is I think he's overlooked. I think everybody's looking at him as another one of these road course ringer guys that's going to come in and not do good. I think this weekend, Kobayashi competes with his teammate Reddick, and I believe he is going to be there at the end. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the experience or the talent level in this car that Reddick does, and he's going to end up finishing P2 to him. But look out for Kobayashi. Look out for Kobayashi. I'm serious. I'm telling you now, right here on YouTube. Tom, who do you got?
I'm gonna fanboy here.
Oh, don't do it.
I am.
Okay, you can do it.
I don't care what nobody thinks. SVG! Baby! Yep, that's my favorite. You know what? Look, people have raced here before. They have some experience here. I just do not think that these drivers in the Cup Series have the talent level that SVG does on road courses, with these heavy cars. I just don't think they do. I don't. Not a regular series Cup Series driver. I don't think so. I think, Trey, you bring up a great point with Tyler Reddick. Yeah, he's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's great. But is he comparable to SVG?
I think so. I really do. I think Reddick is the best Cup Series regular road course driver on the circuit right now.
All I'm saying is he's got the team behind him. He's got the talent. He's got the skills. I think he goes in his second Cup Series start and wins his second race. That's all I'm saying.
Unheard of. That's crazy. I hope he does it for everybody's sake. Yeah. I really do. I just don't see it.
And then, for my dark horse, for the sake of who I chose to point their way in this intense points battle, for the playoffs, I'm going McDowell, because he is a fantastic road course driver. It's almost, you see McDowell top 10 every time we go to road course. It's not going to be any different. Not going to be any different.
No, McDowell's a solid pick. I think he's done well here the last couple of years too, and it's road course ringer. I mean, not that there's ringers anymore, but McDowell, any road course, you can count on him. I have to go with Tyler Reddick, the winner of the race last year. He's the best road course racer in NASCAR. I'd be dumb not to go for him. He lights out above everybody else, I think. And you heard Denny at Chicago when he outqualified him. He learned from Tyler. Tyler's teaching Bubba. I think Tyler Reddick's the best, and drivers are learning from him. I think he's helping all the other Toyota drivers catch up to him and stuff like that. Dark horse. Oh, there's a lot of people to pick from. Just a lot of people are having so good with the road courses this year. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs needs to have a good finish. He's right there on the cut line. JGR's thrown out some good equipment. Ty Gibbs had some stellar runs this year. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs as my dark horse.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's high on Ty Gibbs. I think this dude's a superstar in the making. That's a great
If you told me at the Daytona 500 that I would be rooting for Ty Gibbs to make the playoffs, I wouldn't believe you. I didn't think Ty Gibbs would be close. He's done a lot of maturing this year, and it's helped out his racecraft, and it's been really good. I'm rooting for him. I'm pulling for him to make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, a couple podcasts back, me and Tom made our predictions, and I said Ty Gibbs would point his way in. I said McDowell would point his way in. Fortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen for McDowell. I think he's going to have to win. I think Ty Gibbs can still point his way in. Alrighty.
I think Tom brings up a good point with SVG though. Is SVG is probably going to be in contention.
Oh, 100%.
I think the only thing that doesn't help him is that Chicago, nobody had experience at. So everybody was coming into Chicago with the same level of experience.
That's the biggest question, isn't it? I think we're going to see the true talent level of SVG this weekend.
I think I don't have a doubt in my mind he'll finish top 5. I think he's that good. I just don't know if he'll be winning. I think if it comes down to late race, everybody's bundled up. If he's up front, he has a chance, but I think overall throughout the race, I don't think he will.
He's going to have to learn how to get aggressive on restarts. I mean, that's the big thing with double file restarts.
He drove on the wrong side of the car, and he still won the race. That's insane.
Could you imagine if because he's Australian, they threw him on they made a NASCAR right-hand drive car instead of a left-hand?
They should just put him in the center, like IMSA cars. Just put the seat right in the middle of the car.
Jay, that's too safe.
Yeah, you probably want to fill it up with padding too. Make these guys drive an air bubble around.
I'm glad you guys bring that up because we actually had a comment on the channel the other day. I can't remember exactly what it said, but basically he said they make these cars so fragile anymore. Where when they wreck, pieces are flying off. These pansy racing crashes. We need to go back to full steel-bodied cars.
Yeah,
dumb snowflakes.
You dumb snowflakes with your safety aspects.
Yeah, and everybody's like, NASCAR died with Dale. Yeah, well, people would start dying again. So doing that. Yeah,
yeah, right.
This is absolutely ridiculous. But all right, well,
nobody that's a true racing fan wants the cars to stay together. You want the car to fall apart. You don't want anybody to get hurt.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe they want somebody to get hurt. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
What year were you born, Dallas? NASCAR died with Dale Sr.
Alrighty, so now we are going to go over our NASCAR fantasy lineups. We get 5 drivers, and then we do a few picks here. I'm not even going to explain mine. I think these are all pretty self-explanatory. I got SVG, I got McDowell, I got Reddick, I got Suarez, and Allmendinger. The only one I would switch out would be Allmendinger for Kostecki, but it wouldn't let me because of the dang. He's not even on the fantasy lineup thing. It was weird. So,
is he still TBA?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but he's not on the fantasy lineup roster, so I just put Allmendinger in his place. I still may change it out for Kobayashi. The only reason I haven't put him on there yet is because I don't want to jinx him because I really think he's going to be a competitor for the win. I mean, who do you got for your 5 drivers, Tom?
I've got I'm pretty similar to you, Jay. I got the 91, 34, 45. And then I've got the 19 of Truex. And then, because he's been pretty strong at road courses too. And then I've got Denny Hamlin, but I'm still battling. I don't know if I want to take like a Kobayashi or a Kostecki. It'd really be no harm to me to do it because you get 10 uses per driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but I don't. Honestly, I just need to think a little bit more about it, honestly. Yeah. I can't come up with a decision. I've been thinking about it for the past 2 weeks. I still don't know who to put in that 5th slot. I really don't. Yeah,
this is the first time we've come on here for the podcast for our fantasy lineups. And this is the first time I've been looking at it where I'm like, I kind of want to change it. I mean, my first 4 that I mentioned, right? I'm solid, but that 5th guy, I don't know who to put in there. So
yeah.
Do you do fantasy at all, Dallas?
I don't. I did.
We're gonna have to change that for next year. We're gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I was going to do it this year, and then my ADD kicked in, and I forgot to do it. And then I'm like, all right, I already screwed it up. I'm not doing it anymore this year.
I feel that with my soul.
I can give you guys picks though.
Oh yeah,
I will give you guys picks for this week. We're gonna go with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Wow.
47 car. Give me the 47 car. Give me the 54. Give me the 45. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? Because he's on a hot streak, give me Brad Keselowski. Give me the 6 car. He's going to show up with a rocket ship this weekend. Finally, because I don't know which drivers I would have used this season. Give me Ross Chastain.
Ooh.
SVG isn't going to be the only fast Trackhouse car out there, and Ross Chastain is going to be fast out there too.
I like it. Look at this. Dallas didn't even have a fantasy lineup, and he gave you one anyway. What a legend out here.
Funny thing is I probably picked like 2 of those guys to start the Daytona 500, and I haven't changed my lineup all season, so I'm already out of picks with them. They're like, wow, you really suck at this. You already used all 10 drivers in the first 10 weeks. So
I think next year we're going to create a fantasy league, and we'll let subscribers and anybody that wants to join be part of it, and we'll maybe have like a little giveaway or something at the end of the year. Whoever wins, give them a free t-shirt or something. I think that'll be fun.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I'd win a t-shirt. I'd want to win a t-shirt.
So keep your guys tuned out for tuned for next February. We're gonna get that fantasy league up. If anybody's interested, comment in the comment of this video below, and maybe we can make that happen. That'd be fun. All right, next are picks. So we got Reddick versus Elliott. I think it's no brainer. It's obviously Reddick. I mean, Elliott can't hold a candlestick to Reddick on road courses anymore.
He can hit the broadside of a barn though. He can get that done.
He could if you put a safer barrier behind it.
Yeah, yeah. I've got the 45 over the 9 too. That's no brainer.
I mean, based on my pick too, I got to take 45 over the 9.
The next one is Truex and Busher. Truex. I mean, yeah, it's Truex.
Yeah, that's a no brainer too.
I'm gonna pick Busher just to be different.
Heck yeah.
That's why we like you.
Yeah,
that's why we like
it. Is that if Busher were to beat Truex, you wouldn't even be surprised. You wouldn't. This wouldn't be one of those things you're like, I didn't see that coming, because Busher absolutely can.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, he is a good road course racer. I just think Toyota is going to dominate this weekend. I really do. I'm all over Toyota this weekend. Next one is SVG and Button. You got to take SVG. I mean, Button is just well past his prime. I mean, comparing him to SVG that's a reach. That's a reach. Unless SVG absolutely wrecks and somehow Button gets to the end of this race, there's no way you take anybody but SVG.
We do have Indy Road Course Turn 1, so anything is possible.
That is true.
I mean, that's true. That's true. I also got SVG.
Same.
And then you have McDowell and Justin Haley. Justin Haley's not a good road course driver. I think he's checked out this season. He had that one good run ever since he got that Rick Ware deal. I think he's pretty much just checked out, and he's looking forward to next year. I don't think he's going to be even close to competitive. And McDowell's going to be in the top 10 easily in this race. I mean, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is a no-brainer, and that's the McDowell car for sure.
They should have changed out Justin Haley with AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, that would have been a better matchup.
That would have been a better matchup, because Justin Haley is not going to get any good equipment in colleague anymore. That's all going to go to AJ Allmendinger, I think, for the rest of the season. So I got to go with Michael McDowell too.
Yeah, they really whiffed on the matchups. I think the only good one here is the Truex Busher one. I mean, usually they'll get 2 good matchups, 2 pretty bad random matchups. This week it was like 1 good matchup.
What if they put SVG in the Rick Ware car and Jensen Button in the Trackhouse car?
I still think SVG would outperform him. I just don't. I'm a huge fan of Jensen Button. I think he's a great race car driver. But like we said with Jimmy Johnson, he's well past his prime. He shouldn't even be doing this. It's an embarrassment, really. I hate to say it.
Yeah, it's true. He's too good. It's
way too good. He's in his prime. I mean, it's like trying to get Jeff Gordon back in a race car and trying to compete against Kyle Busch right now. What are we doing? I mean, they're 2 great race car drivers, but one's in a wheelchair and one's basically out here winning on a weekly basis. And I'm a huge Jeff Gordon fan. Like he's my man. I don't know if you can see the rug behind me, man. I got everything Jeff Gordon. I think he's the greatest NASCAR driver to ever get behind the wheel of one. So, yeah. This week we do not have a radioactive of the week. Unfortunately, we did not get a radioactive segment before the podcast to this week. So there still will be one, but it might come out tomorrow once they put out the radioactive of the week. Dallas and me talked about it before stream. We kind of got our pick, as long as it's on the video, of what quote we're going to use. So I don't know
if they don't put that on the video. If they don't put that on the video, they need to stop doing a radioactive.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you 100%. So, yeah, we don't want to give it away, but we already have it pretty much figured out what we're doing. And with that being said, that summarizes the episode here of the Full Send Half Mast podcast, episode 28. Can't believe we're already on 28 of these things. I guess now we'll just talk a little bit about the state of the channel and what's coming. So as I mentioned, we are going to be doing our monthly watch party this weekend, Sunday. Me and Tom will be in there. I believe Jared, maybe he'll be in on there to join us. And we're going to be watching this as, in my opinion, the most star-studded field we've ever seen in a NASCAR Cup Series race in its 75-year history. lines going into this race. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I've been looking forward to this race for the last 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, just this is going to be insane. I am so ready. So ready for this race. And then also we ran last night I guess the Fun Around and Find Out event, which was fun. We saw Dallas. He ended up finishing P3 in that race. What a fun race that was, right? I mean, do you have anything you want to add to that, Dallas? I mean, explain. You know, you had your interview post race, but you want to talk a little bit more about that and how fun that was?
If you've never driven an open wheel car on a dirt track with jumps, you're missing out. That was the most fun I've ever had on iRacing. My body is still sore. That was a workout. I didn't know what to do with my wheel. I didn't know if I wanted my wheel to be not have like any force feedback and just have it be, loosey goosey. If I wanted it to have a lot of force feedback, I didn't know. So I went with loose, but I think if I was a little bit tighter, I probably wouldn't have had it work as much. But when it was wobbling around, but it was so much fun. You just never knew what was going to happen. You come around the corner, you'd be a lap down, and a lap later, now you're the leader. You just never know. It was a wild card. It was a complete wild. It was more of a wild card than the fall Daytona race.
Heck yeah. Tom, you want to explain a little bit of what it is, this Fun Around and Find Out series? Because I think a lot of people that probably watched that video or that stream last night probably didn't know what was going on or what it was about. And is there a way you could maybe give some more context to that whole thing?
Yeah. So our Fun Around and Find Out series will be on Mondays. It's kind of a filler right now where we're in between seasons right now. The admins over at NSR still want to run a series for Monday, but right now it's just we're running this kind of off series, the Fun Around and Find Out. And basically what we're doing is it's a series for everybody to join in, have some fun, not have to worry about points or, on-track incidents, off-track incidents, etc., etc. It's just a time for the drivers to come out, have some fun, have yourself broadcasted, and, really for Jay and I to have some fun too in the booth. So that's our Fun Around and Find Out series on Monday. On Wednesdays, we'll be starting up our Gen 6 series again, so stay tuned for that. That's coming up very soon. Our Thursday series is still going to be our short track series. Actually, championship week is this week. We'll be crowning a champion. And then Sundays are going to be starting up as well. Sundays, we'll be doing our GT3 series races, our GT3 league that we have going on. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. And I've got one more announcement. I'm going to pull it up here real quick. September 15th, we've got the 87s at New Atlanta, 260 laps. And it's going to be a special event for our NSR series. So we're going to be getting a lot of guys, kind of like what we did for the 499. We're going to be getting a lot more guys in here again for another really fun, really cool race with the 1987 Cup cars at New Atlanta, not Old Atlanta, New Atlanta, 260 laps. September 15th, be there. It's going to be another great time.
Heck yeah. So some exciting stuff on the broadcasting end. I know we're looking forward to it. I mean, we just love doing it. It's like our dream is to be racing broadcasters, and we get to go have fun and call some amazing races. Best iRacers in the business, as always. So make sure to stay tuned for all of the great broadcasting. And then as it comes to the channel, we hit 500 subscribers. A huge milestone for us. I can't believe how fast we've grown. We started this in March, I think it was, on a whim. And just thanks to everybody at NSR for giving us this opportunity to broadcast. It really grew our channel, and that was kind of the center point of what we wanted to do, but also to be able to come here on Tuesdays and do this podcast. I mean, we could bring Dallas in. We haven't seen him in a while. It's good to have him back and give his perspective. Always a fun time. And basically just share our love of racing, talk about all the races. I mean, we're the hub for motorsports. If you love racing, motorsports, we this is the place to be. We are the ESPN of racing. We cover it all. We talk about all the great stuff that's going on in racing. We even have crash compilation videos. These things are taking off. You guys love them. I mean, we have just every type of wreck from all the different types of series throughout the season. August is not any different than the last few months. We've already got a ton of wrecks this month. So make sure to stay tuned. We got those videos coming out. Also, there is a little bit of a pet project of mine that I've been working on behind the scenes. I've just kind of been discussing with Tom kind of how we want to put this series out, whether we want to do a series, want to do a full length movie production, kind of just deciding that. But stay tuned. There may be a trailer coming out here soon for it, so stay tuned. And I've been working on it. Big pet project of mine. Very passionate about this in particular. I don't want to give too much away, but just stay tuned to the channel. You're going to see some great stuff coming. And then also, hopefully, some more of these short track features coming up here soon. My life's been pretty crazy recently, so I've really been able to do a lot of that kind of stuff that I want to do, but just stay tuned to that. Definitely going to get more of those out to you. And also, check out our link in the description. Check out our channel. We have a store. We have a store now. We got all kinds of awesome merch. Get your BDN Big Daddy NASCAR t-shirt. We got Dega Boys t-shirts on there. We got Lyle Gregson t-shirts on there.
I didn't know.
He figured it out. Yeah.
You have this chat emoji, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna use it. So I've just been spamming it in chats. I don't know what the hell it means, but now I'm glad I know what it means.
Big Daddy NASCAR.
Big Daddy NASCAR.
Yes, sir.
So yes, if you become a member, like Dallas says, you'll be able to get the emoji Big Daddy NASCAR. We got more emojis coming. We just got to work to get them put on here and get some more of our good quotes. But we got tons of t-shirts. We got hats. We got joggers. We got bumper stickers. I mean, we've got magnets for your fridge. We got bags, water bottles, coffee mugs. Go check out our store and go purchase you some of the best Dega Boys merchandise or some of the best racing merchandise. I mean, honestly, we got some great stuff on there. More stuff to come. Check that out. And also, if you want to become a member, there's multiple tiers to choose from. Pick a tier that fits you best, and all of that goes to help our channel out and keep helping us grow and bring more awesome content for you guys at home that you guys love so much. And thank you to everyone again. I can't believe we hit 500 subs that fast. That was crazy. Time is flying by, and we'll probably be at 1,000 subs here soon to hit the next tier of monetization. And I can't even believe it. Is there anything you guys want to add? Any last closing notes here before we send this podcast off tonight?
If you guys have any suggestions for some merch, let us know. We'll hook you up. We'll get some cool stuff on there. If you guys join the channel, you guys want to have some cool badges or whatever, just let us know, man. We'd love to make them for you.
Heck yeah.
I got two things.
Dallas?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I don't know why I never thought of this. I just thought he was in the playoffs because of his Daytona 500 win. No, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., if he did not win a race this season, would still be in the playoffs. He would be 15th in points, I believe.
Yeah,
he's been having an incredible year.
Good.
I didn't think that. Not that I don't think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is capable of winning a NASCAR race, but it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and JTD Doherty. They're not supposed to be the competitive team. They're supposed to be one of those teams that Chevy's just like, all right, hey, you're gonna have the scraps. They're 15th in points. They're having an incredible season.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give Ricky Stenhouse some love. He deserves it this year. I don't like that he won the Daytona 500. I was hoping Joey Logano or Tyler Reddick would win it, but he won the Daytona 500. He's in the playoffs. Look for them to make possible round of 12 run. And then my wife and I are going to the Indy Road Course this weekend. We'll be leaving tomorrow morning. We'll go to the Indy Road Course. We're doing the Hauler Parade Thursday. We'll be at the IRP and Indy. We'll be at IRP Friday night. We have VIP passes for Friday, Saturday. So we'll do all the IndyCar Xfinity stuff. We'll be at the Cup Race Sunday. If you recognize me, say hi. See, saw you on the Dega Boys podcast. Shout out to them. I'll take a picture. I won't sign an autograph though. That I won't do. Give me your stuff. I don't care.
Freaking.
I'm kidding. If you want my autograph, I'll sign you an autograph. But yeah, no. If you're going out there, have fun at the races. I think it's going to be a blast. Weather looks good. Maybe some rain Saturday for the Xfinity and IndyCar races. That'll be interesting. But weather looks good for Sunday, Friday night. So
Dallas's signature looks like, if you don't chew Big Red, then yeah.
I might have to start practicing that. That'll have to be my thing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
If you don't watch Dega Boys, then
Woo! I mean, you're gonna have to, man. You're gonna become a celebrity.
Hey, that's
here
a
soon.
T-shirt right
I
there.
was just gonna say that's a T-shirt idea. We need to.
There's a new T-shirt idea, boys. Here we go. We'll get that one out on the store next.
Will Ferrell holding up a sign that says, "If you don't."
Heck yeah! There we go.
Except
new
we'll have to
T-shirt
put one of
idea.
we'll have to put one of our faces over it for copyright issues.
You can say, "I hope you brought your Costco card because you're about to get Dega Boys in bulk."
Heck yeah! I love it.
Look at that. Look at that.
Alrighty. Well, that's gonna do it for the Dega Boys here at our podcast, episode 28, Full Set and Half Bass podcast. That is. Thank you so much, Dallas, for coming out here. We really enjoyed it. It was a fun time talking.
Yeah, I love doing
I'm sure the
this with you
fans
guys.
were excited to see you. They're gonna be begging for you to come back, man. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, the only person I talk to about NASCAR is my wife because everybody's like, "Oh, you watch NASCAR? I watch NASCAR. I watch NASCAR."
You're in the right
Sam.
place. You're in the right
Now
place.
she's getting into IndyCar. She's getting into IMSA. We're getting into everything. So yeah, I
Heck
like
yeah.
having an outlet to talk about it.
Heck yeah. Alrighty. And then Tom, thanks again for coming. I know you had some stuff and we had to start a little late, but you made it. And we got to talk about some racing. We had a good time. And
Heck yeah.
yeah.
Always a
Yeah.
good time.
so we'll see you guys
Always.
Sunday or actually we'll see you guys on Thursday for the broadcast there for the NSR. Sunday for the watch party, and then we'll be back here Tuesday for episode 29. And with that being said, this has been it. This has been the Dega Boys here, podcast episode 28. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night.
See y'all.
Later.